Hello and welcome to what would have been day 3 of the Betfred World Snooker Championship. But the 20th of April is a significant date in the history of snooker because back in 1981, it was when Steve Davis won his first ever world title. He beat Doug Mountjoy 18-12. Let's look back at that famous night.
Down to this final pink. And that's it. The World Snooker Champion, 1981, Steve Davis. Congratulations there to the Embassy World Champion Steve Davis from his manager Barry Hearn. His friends, of course, climbing around. Barry Hearn's wife gives him a big hug and a kiss. The young man, just 23 years of age, coming from Plumstead, London, is now, I believe, crying with joy on taking this title. The burden he's carried from before the championships here at Sheffield, made odds-on favourites, and has carried the banner right the way through. A terrific performance. He has been faultless and most consistent in every shot he has played over the most difficult of matches. He has now overcome Doug Mountjoy in the final and become the Embassy World Champion 1981.
Steve Davis, snooker champion of the world. Do you want me to say it again, or has it sunk in yet?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So that was Steve Davis's first of 6 titles, the man who dominated the 80s, of course. And we saw a young-looking Barry Hearn there. He was Steve's manager. Now, of course, Steve Davis is part of the BBC team in the studio and the commentary box. And also part of that team is Alan McManus, who played tribute to his colleague.
I wish the players of today, not so much the Stuart Binghams and the John Higg, they've all played him when he was near his best. But the younger guys, anyone under the age of probably 30, I wish they could have had the chance to play him when he was... I actually believe Davis was at his best in the very late 80s and probably up to about 93 or 4. He was... Because I played him my first year, few years as a pro, I played him quite a lot. I played him, my first ever ranking final was out in Thailand, was in 92, I think. And it was my 21st birthday, actually, that week. We were out in Thailand. And he beat me 9-3, and I played awesome. I couldn't have played any better, and he beat me 9-3. It's funny enough, he did the same thing, I think, to John Higgins. I don't know if it was John's first ranking final. It might have been his second. He played Davis, and Davis walloped him. And we know how good John is, and Davis completely just took him to pieces. I remember John saying that at the time, and I wasn't a bit surprised. He was an unbelievably good player. Technically, he played. He's a throwback of a player. Well, obviously he actually is a throwback, but even in the modern sort of 90s, it's difficult to explain. But his cue ball control was actually similar to Ding. See, like, now when the guy, I've always thought this about Davis back in the day, when a player now plays top side of the blue, they don't mind the cue ball maybe that off the side cushion. Mm-hmm. Davis played that away from the blue. He was trying to play into areas that nowadays all players play into an area, but the area would be maybe that size. Davis played into an area maybe that size, and so if you felt like his cue ball was under unbelievable control, a bit like the way Ding is when he's at his best, He made it look so simple.
And what's he like to work with in the commentary box?
Oh, he's brilliant. In the com box, he's brilliant because it's everyone's different. And Steve, I find, is quite conversational in a way, which is not everyone's like that. Which is everyone's different. And funny enough, I don't know if it was last year or year before, we were on table one at the. I can't remember the match, and he said something like, "Why wouldn't he have played that shot?" or something. Or why wouldn't he have done? You know, he's asking me, and I said, "Well, you're forgetting that you're Steve Davis." And I said this on air. I said, "See, you forget that, you know," and we're having a laugh about it. And he's just brilliant, you know. I mean, a lot of times in the com box, I've not been in that often with him, but a lot of times if I've been in with him, I'm waiting on him saying something that I've never heard before, so that I can think, blinking out, that guy really does know what he's talking about. Obviously he does. And he's like that in the studio. In the studio, he's awesome. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He kind of finds a way to depict something that, in a way that the viewer will understand, not so much in a snooker way, but he'll talk about it in a different way. And I always love listening to him when he's in studio. He's just awesome. And a great guy.
Alan McManus has reached 3 semi-finals of the Betfred World Snooker Championship. The last one was in 2016. That was the same year that Steve Davis announced his retirement at the Crucible. Let's look back.
He was just my hero when I was growing up as a snooker player. So, yeah, obviously, it's a sad day, obviously, for the game of snooker that he won't be playing again. But he's gave so much enjoyment to everybody. So, hope he's a good retirement.
What a career. He changed the game of snooker. I remember him coming on the scene. I played him in his very first World Championship all them years ago, 1979. And I think I had 4 battles with him at the Crucible. 2 finals, and I think it was one semi-final and a quarter-final. I loved playing against Steve Davis because you knew if you didn't play well, he was going to hammer you.
I used to take my hat off to Steve Davis because he was just so good. He was so polished, such a great ambassador as well. And getting to know him and play him over the years as well, I've learned so much from Steve Davis just watching him play, playing against him. I had some fantastic matches here at the Crucible as well, and he's been an inspiration to everybody, and also been a fantastic ambassador for snooker.
I played Steve in my very first match as a professional. I've managed to beat him 4-0, so I obviously remember that. Unfortunately for Steve, my greatest memory will be obviously Taylor winning in the black in the 85, obviously with Dennis being from Northern Ireland. It was a massive thing for Northern Ireland sport. Probably not one Davis I'd like to remember, but obviously with 6 world titles and numerous tournaments around the world, he's had a glittering career.
I'm quite sort of okay as we speak. It was quite emotional. I sort of held it together. I didn't want to completely blub, but it was obviously the possibilities of blubbing. But to some degree, I'd already retired. But I think to do it officially was something that was quite important in the end, and it was sort of tied up with my father passing away. And all things considered, it's a circle of things. And it's come to an end, and it's all sort of tied up quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, amazing to think that was 4 years ago. Steve Davis, one of the greatest ever players to play this fabulous game, announcing his retirement, winning 6 world titles. Right, Crucible Gold tonight on World Snooker's Facebook and YouTube. We're looking at the other maximum men. We've so far looked at Ronnie O'Sullivan, and we've looked at Stephen Hendry. So looking at the other maximum men as well, there's been 10 maximum breaks in Crucible history. Cliff Thorburn with the first in 1983. I'll be back on Tuesday night, which would have been on day 4. And a little earlier, we heard from Alan McManus, didn't we? We'll have a special interview with Alan McManus on our Facebook and YouTube pages on Wednesday night. Well, that's it from the Daily Wrap. Stay safe, stay in.